Okay, Gwen, thank you for joining us and for the benefit of the recording. Gwen MacGregor was our summer 2022 land-based and learning in the arts course instructor. From the campus perspective, my name is Marla Hlady. I'm a faculty here on campus. I'm also involved in the course, doing some guest appearances, but helping to do some of the larger organizing. And of course, I participate in the field trips, so I'm around a lot. And then when students go on the field trips, Bagida-waad Alliance do all of the teaching from the when we're away at Neyaashiinigmiing. I think it's the end of the day, so I'm feeling a little not very fluent. And Natasha has just joined us. It could be it's both Natasha and Victoria. Let's just give them a minute to see if they turn their camera on as they join us. And just to say, as you're joining us, we do have the record on. And I'll just give them a moment. Giving them a moment. Oh, here we go. Can't get the camera and mic on. Okay. Oh, well, that's a shame, Natasha, but thank you for the message. All right. So I'm going to try not to so much, but I think it's just because it's the end of my day and I've been awake. Natasha and Gwen won't be surprised. I have been awake since 4:30 this morning, so I'm quite tired. I'm going to begin by just going through a little bit of a reel of images, a slideshow from the summer 2022 course. And if you have any questions, please kind of keep track of them and ask them once I'm done. And Gwen, please, I encourage you to jump on and add to the narrative as we go. I haven't scripted or anything, so happy to have your voice as part of this. So I'm going to share my screen. Everyone can see my shared screen, yeah? Yeah, great, thank you. I'm starting with the field trip as we arrive up at Neyaashiinigmiing at Bagida-waad's headquarters, and I love this sign. I love this sign, Natasha. Thank you, thank you, Natasha. We just jumped right in with the presentation, and I'll circle back around to maybe. Thank you. Welcome. Maybe I'll just start by saying welcome, Natasha. Thank you. I'm so glad you could make it. And as I said to Gwen, please, as I go through the images, jump in at any time to add any comments. I kept the reel fairly short. So as we arrive at Bagida-waad's headquarters, there's this fantastic sign marking the location. It's a really beautiful area. Natasha gets highlighted right off. She's pointing to something in the water. I'm not quite sure. I don't remember now, but this is literally at the bottom, just sort of very close to the sign, looking out at the water. And there's this iconic small piece of architecture in the water that you'll often see in Bagida-waad's Instagram postings that used to be if I recall, it's the remnants of words are eluding me. a boat dock. A dock. Is that correct, Natasha? Yeah, thank you. Sorry.
It's okay.
Brain. Anyway, I'm sure you're very sure about what you're pointing to. And of course, this is right next to where Natasha was standing, very close to the where you arrive, very close to where the class will be camping, and all this the students are learning to skip rocks. It's fantastic because there was varying degrees of success of the skipping, but I love this image because you caught all of the rocks mid flight. I'm like, well, that's a little high for skipping, but it was a process that we had fun as we went down to the water every morning. Oops, like to hear. Oops, yeah. Natasha has some really fabulous animals that the class gets to contribute to the caring for during the field trips. This is Joshua, who had it in his mind that he needed to catch a hen out in the yard. I actually have an amazing video of him achieving this goal, but he's quite happy as he gets his hands on it. And I managed to get quite a few of Josh right in these early shots, but of course feeding the horse, petting the goat, and you get to see Victoria petting the goat, who is another member of the Bagida-waad Alliance, and of course Gwen right in the back there. They're so amazing, the goats. I love the goats. This is, you can see the sign in the background, but kneeling on the ground is Chris Atiwenzia, Natasha's son and a youth on the reserve. And Chris is one of the main hiking guides. He's amazing. He's not much older than most of the students that are in the class, so you really enjoy the relationship that you'll be able to build with him. And he's reviewing plants that we've learned on our walks, which often I forget and I have to make notes and check, but we do a little bit of lessons just outside on the picnic table in the open air, which is really, really fabulous. And of course, a shot of camping, and just a reminder that in the course, you do not need to have any of your own equipment. If you have your own sleeping bag, fantastic. You're welcome to bring your own camping gear, but we have enough camping gear now for the entire class. So there are no barriers on that perspective, which is amazing. And of course, there's what we refer to as the fish plant, which is really not a fish plant anymore. But of course, the Atiwenzia family was a fishing family. They no longer fish because of climate change and have really replaced fishing with climate action through the Bagida-waad Alliance. But what's left of this fish plant is this amazing kitchen, which is partly where the class gets to collaboratively prepare meals together. Not all of it is inside in the kitchen, but this is a shot of some of the cooking preparation. Here they're preparing potatoes to go into the fire pit to cook in the fire. And this is a moment when we were preparing pizzas, just the really fast pizzas. And of course, what you don't see, and I didn't dig around for an image, there's actually a wood fired stove for cooking pizzas. That was quite the hit that Natasha's partner manages, and he's amazing. He's also the fire monitor. He's an amazing firefighter, so I always feel very safe with him in charge of the fire. And a nice shot of us one night after we've eaten, hanging out. I didn't get the one of the marshmallows that's on the poster. And shifting away from food, we actually do a couple of night hikes. It's amazing. You're going to see here that this particular hike is is really easy to do. It's on a boardwalk that goes through a marsh. You can see Chris here identifying something, everyone looking on. It's actually quite brilliant in terms of us all wearing our headlamps and being able to really focus on very specific sensory input as we do this introductory walk at night. Getting to learn about this location with such strong audio feedback from the location. It was quite an amazing experience. We do a variety of walks. We always do the walk at a botanist pace, meaning that we're not running. I know this is a new term for me, and it's really a fabulous, it's really fabulous because you're not rushing, you're really looking. Christopher and Natasha and Mingyan are always introducing new plants and showing us prints in the ground. And here, this is Josh wanting to play with a small frog. It's in the spring. The sounds of the frogs are amazing on this particular hike. I would call it more of a walk. This is an amazing walk, a really different walk up into the trees. And we get to talk in this moment about an important marker on the land, and the fact that going to Neyaashiinigmiing, you have an opportunity to be on unceded land of the Chippewa of Nawash. So there's quite a lot of education around Anishinaabe culture, and you're learning from elders, you're learning from the Bagida-waad Alliance, both, and I'll be clear about this, that the Bagida-waad Alliance is an amazing alliance in that it's made up of both fishing families from the area as well as settler allies from the area. And so you're learning from a large group of people, and all of the Indigenous knowledge is taught by the Indigenous people. Not doing well with my, I hope I'm doing okay. I'm very done. I should have had a script. Thumbs up. It's nice to see Yifan looking so happy. He really got into his walking rhythm. It was nice to see Yifan in a course last semester. It was really beautiful to teach him here on campus. I didn't realize I had a double shot of more frogs. It was very popular on that walk. And there's always these other beautiful views. This one was quite popular. It's astonishing, the views. And lower down in the Alvar, everyone is really having it up for the camera. But as you get to the water, you can see it's again, and that I mean, we have so many beautiful photographs because they were just, all of these moments were so plentiful. This particular one amazed me. And again, Victoria, she's flying a drone, and she's demonstrating the drone flying to onlookers from class. A shot of the drone up over the lake. There's always at the end of every walk a celebratory photograph. Walk accomplished. Yifan is holding up my hat because I'm taking the picture and I'm not in the picture. I loved that. And another group shot down at the waterfront after we walked down through the Alvar. And of course, we also do land-based learning on campus. Here, the students are working at the campus farm. Campus farm is amazing. You have the opportunity to work, to meet and learn from the knowledge keeper who has planted and developed an Indigenous garden on the campus farm. It's my one short video clip. And of course, Beatrice, who is the campus coordinator, she's amazing. Also, lots and lots of valuable knowledge that she offers, and she's teaching students about an Indigenous irrigation system that they use on the campus. And hopefully we haven't figured this out yet, but we hope in summer 2022, we got to cook in the culinary kitchen lab on campus, where we made gifts for when we went up north on the field trip. And I like this. This is an example of putting a pinch of salt into the cookies. Mira and Joshua are demonstrating it quite well. And then just to round off this, and this is the end of the little slide talk, some of the presentation of work at the very end of the course. The course is Land-based Learning in the Arts. So this idea that you can bring your program learning, and there is this ask that you have some creative course work in there. We're asking for at least 2.0, which is 4 courses. But if for some reason you fall outside of that 2.0 and you have something else that is equivalent, you can meet with me and I can take a look at where your credit levels are to ensure that you're able to take the course. But train of thought, the end project is a creative project of some kind. So here we have a series of photographs, a performance, a participatory performance that we're midway on. Oh, I can't remember what Jennifer's was. Do you remember, Gwen? What you can see here, however, is that both Victoria and Natasha do come into the classroom remotely by Zoom once a week, and so they're participating and continuing to be part of the course even when we're on campus, which is amazing. So we're doing the best to keep them involved in the final presentation of the projects. Oh, that's right. I think it was a painting, if I recall. Is that correct? Yeah. So for some reason, I'm not seeing the painting, but Jennifer speaking about the painting into the microphone so that everyone on the screen is able to really hear what's being said. So we're being very conscious of using our media skills in the final presentation. And this is actually Mira presenting outside a sound and video work. So she came out of the music program. So she actually composed a musical work and combined it with a video, which was amazing. So she's showing it to us on our iPad next to the location that she took the video in. And this is the final shot. It's actually after one of the projects, which was a tea ceremony that Sade did as part of her final project, but it was kind of at the end of the discussion, everyone really kind of giving a celebratory woo end of the course. Okay, that's it. How'd I do?
Amazing.
Thank you, Natasha. Thank you, Heidi. So everyone, I'm so glad you got your camera and microphone working, Natasha. So everyone, this is Natasha Atiwenzia. I'm one of the key leaders of Bagida-waad Alliance who helps team teach the course. I feel like I've talked a lot.
Did you want me to take over for just a minute?
I would love some stories from someone else. Okay. And please, as Natasha and Gwen are offering any thoughts, if you want to turn your camera on and ask a question, please feel like you can, or also feel like you can type it in the chat and I will say it for you. So over to you, Natasha.
Perfect. Yeah, I was actually just discussing when we did this a couple years ago, how much fun it was. It it was so much fun and so much learning, watching people squeal with delight, touching a frog for the first time possibly, or trying to catch a frog. It's not near as easy as people think it is. And exploring the outside together was absolutely amazing to be able to be out in the spring, which is always exciting and kind of noisy at times with the amount of birds and the activity and everything pairing up and doing their thing in the springtime. So it was really fascinating. But this year we have a number of youth that work with us, and that's an exciting addition to previous years. And their excitement and their passion is contagious, to say the least. It's not too often do you catch like 4 youth adults crashing through the bush trying to catch something, and usually coming up with it, and getting everybody into the barn to look at the chickens and trying to put your hand underneath the chicken to get an egg. I'm not too sure how many people have done that, but it's relatively exciting at times. And
It's amazing. It's amazing to try to get an egg from underneath a hen. I'm a very I grew up in the countryside, but it was a challenge for me. It was amazing.
it's so much fun to watch, and to have people experience it for the first time. We have so many different areas in just our very small area to explore. We have like the woodlands. We have Marla was talking about the Alvars. We're up on the escarpment. We can be in the wetlands. We can be on boardwalks. We can be there at different times of the day. You can watch the sun setting just behind the escarpment coming down over the water. If you're up early, you can watch the sunrise that literally rises over the Hay Island that's in front of our house. We live right on the shore. We're about 100 feet away from the shoreline. It's our office, then driveway, then road, and then another short driveway, and Georgian Bay is right there. So I can't complain about our scenery. We're surrounded by 3 bluffs. We do live on the First Nations. We're 4 doors down from the band office. So if you had anything political you'd like to discuss, you're more than welcome to walk down to the band office. I'm not suggesting it, but it's an option. We also have a beautiful dock that's just down the road from us. If you ever watch our social media, Bagida-waad's social media, you can see that they have this beautiful green kind of water there that I don't know why it's so green there, but it's just and it's clear. And if you look inside the bumpers, so the boats don't bump into the dock a lot, right now there's a whole bunch of little tiny baby fish floating around in there, swimming around in there. So if you ever see me on my hands and knees on my stomach looking down the bumpers, that's what I'm doing. I'm not doing anything else. I'm just looking at fish. So we do have a lot of history here. We come from a fishing family, so we love talking about whitefish and lake trout and perch and all the fishing stories about big water and how fast storms can move in and how climate change is affecting the bay and I'm sure even Lake Ontario. Not too sure how often all of you see Lake Ontario, but there hasn't been a lot of ice from what the ice charts I've been watching. I watch the ice charts most likely more than most normal people watch, and I post them to our social media quite a bit. And you're able to see the growth of the ice over time. And this year, as you might have heard on the news, is the lowest amount of ice that they've ever recorded. And that doesn't speak well for a lot of fish that are cold water fish like the whitefish. And it's a huge concern. And I know I've been watching it quite a bit. And there's almost very, very little ice. We just did some winter camping last week with our team. And I actually found finally ice on the bay, but I literally had to go up to Manitoulin to find ice on the bay. Most normal people don't drive 9.5 hours to go find ice, but that's what we did. We drove all the way around Georgian Bay, camped out, and we found ice. Really disappointing because we don't have any ice down here. It didn't even attempt to grow down here this year. Really highly concerning. But again, you know, that things are changing, but I got to see it from a different point of view. I got to see how ice formed between the islands up on Manitoulin in sheltered areas. And it made me appreciate what we were missing down south. And I can't imagine, I haven't seen the shoreline of Lake Ontario this year, but I'm imagining you guys have not had a lot of ice, and I could be wrong. But it's really sad because fish need that ice cover for so many reasons. And again, that's something you'll learn about from our conversations that we'll have on the trails and over dinner and what have you, about the importance of some of these things. Like spring should not be here on March 5th. You know, I should not be. I found two salamanders this morning, which I got hugely excited over. And a friend of mine found a garter snake yesterday. So these are things that we should not be finding on March 5th or 4th, but they are out and about. And but again, these are really important conversations to have and to share and to kind of take note of. But we get super excited, as you can tell, over the environment and critters and trees and plants and flowers. There's lady slippers you might see when you come up here. I'm trying to remember the plants that we saw up here when the other group was up here, but I know the one that I love the most is
Trillium?
oh my goodness, so many trilliums.
Fields, like
Field.
amazing. It'd be
Yeah.
like this beautiful canopy of trees, and then below would be covered in these, like, it was amazing with trillium flowers.
And I think on the Alpha, it was also paintbrushes, if I remember correctly, the fields of red. And just the amazing amount of color and sounds. My goodness, I'm not a big one to complain about the sounds that animals can make, but I have a whippoorwill that's considered an endangered species, and I swear he sits on my patio door and does his cry from 2 o'clock in the morning till 6 in the morning. So it's not too often that I have not too often does somebody have an endangered species come literally knocking, but that's what our property has. So it's super exciting to be able to share this space with yourselves and also to share it with so many different species. Literally right outside your tent, if you take a few steps, it's right there at your fingertips. The bay is right there. The trees are right there. All the critters, the sounds. We'll introduce you to the night sounds. You would think the nighttime is quiet, and it's not. It's most likely one of the loudest and most obnoxious times of the day. You can hear all the different birds, all the different cries, all the different sounds that you just tune right into, and it's a magical time because these are sounds that most people would never hear. When we were up on Manitoulin, waking up really early one morning because it was cold, winter camping, go figure, and we heard a great horned owl. So to lay on an air mattress in a nice warm sleeping bag, trying to convince yourself that you want to get up and get a coffee, and you could hear a great horned owl off in the distance. That's not a
That's pretty magical.
It
Yeah.
so is. And we also have, we've had a screech owl out in our big maple tree at the end of our driveway over the winter. And so to hear these different owls and sounds and to appreciate them is really something else. And I so look forward to introducing you guys to our home. This is our backyard. This is our playground. There's not too much cement to be found, but there's a lot of connection and love for the water and the trees and all the other life that surrounds you. And you're just talking about doing some crafting with our team, and some of the amount of artistic stuff you can work on here is just like, we went up to Manitoulin and was talking to an elder, and she was talking about, making dream catchers with riddles instead of the rings, the brass rings that were made. and talking about how she uses like real feathers and not the dyed made up feathers, and talking about using natural materials in a lot of the crafts, and talking about quill work, and talking about beadwork and leather work and all those things, and even pottery and clay and ceramics and everything else, and how excited she was getting over about using all these natural materials in her craft work, and then switching over and talking in the language to us about it a little bit. And none of us are real language speakers, but just to hear that excitement in her voice was so contagious, and kind of made me think about my beads and my leather work that's at home that is just collecting dust. So something I need to brush up on and find some time to do maybe one day.
Mhm.
But back over to you, Marla, because that's just a
Well,
little bit. I know.
thank you, Natasha. That was amazing introduction to your place. Thank you. Gwen, did you want to maybe speak
Sure.
as the
Yeah.
campus person?
Yeah, I was the campus person for when we did this 2 years ago. And I'm an installation artist, I've been an instructor at a number of different campuses, a number of different universities, and I'm also just about finished a PhD in cultural geography. Also, I'm Toronto-based, but I'm very fortunate to also have a place, a part-time place, I guess about a 20-minute drive from where Natasha is. And so have some, so I would say a love of the area, some experience, and I think of myself as kind of a teacher, but also a lifelong learner. And that is certainly the way that I think about this course and the way we all kind of work together. So I was the sort of the main point person on campus as an instructor. But having said that, we really tried to spend as much time as we could outside when we were at UTSC, as well as when we were up at Neyaashiinigmiing. So the farm, which is just amazing at UTSC, spent a lot of time there and doing walks, that extraordinary campus that you have at UTSC, really taking advantage of that beautiful environment, and the forest is there on your doorstep. So really thinking of the nature that is there, in an urban environment throughout the course, as well as when we're up on the Saugeen Peninsula. So that is really important to the course. And there was a real encouragement and opportunity to be expressing creativity in whatever way suited the student. So it's really open to whatever, because students are from different disciplines, and some were more music oriented, some photographer or performance or writing. It was all really encouraged, and whatever worked best for the student, and really bringing together the experience of the course and filtering that into your creative practice, and helping you develop that and kind of blossom as a creative person. So that's the kind of way that we thought about the course, and kind of brought that through whether we were on campus or up at Neyaashiinigmiing.
That's great. Thank you, Gwen. I'll just add that Gwen was really thoughtful in creating stepping stones or a pathway to the final project, so that you don't feel overwhelmed by it. Because as you all know, it can be challenging to work towards a final project. And so there's some writing, some drawing, some listening.
And
This,
yeah, and it's
yep.
really a participation. Like there's a
Mm.
final project. It's definitely there. It's something to work towards. But really, it's about coming to class, participating, and the process of being creative, being together in nature in different environments. And that is as or more important in this course as producing a final thing. So it's a combination of that kind of really process-oriented kind of course, as well as then channeling that into a final project.
Great. I might just review to say that the course is your tuition for a normal course, and what you would, money that you might need to produce your project. And as you know, that depending upon what your budget is, you can spend more or less, and it's wide open where that final project can go. All of the course is paid for, so you don't have to pay to get up to Neyaashiinigmiing, to buy food, to have any of the equipment. That's all provided by us. The only thing that we ask the students to provide, in addition to any money for materials, is to have proper hiking shoes and a rainproof jacket. A lot of the other items, Gwen will be able to walk you through to, if you need to purchase them, she will be able to guide you in that direction. So it's minimal the cost for the course. What I will say is there are student grants. If you're like, I really love this idea, but I have really a tight budget, I don't have money to buy hiking boots. There is student grants. There is a student grant for this kind of course. Unfortunately, the deadline, I love this about it, universities. There's a deadline to apply for support to purchase these things that is before the course begins. So if you're super into the course, you're really worried about making some of these very basic purchases, and I really understand what a tight budget some of you can be on, I encourage you to reach out to me. I'm actually on the info page going to post a link to the grant, as well as some a link to a document that walks you through applying for it. But I actually can meet with you and give you a really basic supply list and an estimation of the cost and a support letter so that you can apply for the grant even before the course begins. So again, we do not want anyone to not take the course because they have a really tight budget. And I'm here to help you. That's my job. You reach out to me, and my email is on the info page on the poster. Easy to find me. The deadline to apply for the course is March 22nd. The deadline to apply for the grant is March 25th, 3 days after applying for the course. But again, I can help you navigate all of this. And if you're like, I don't even know if I qualify with the right credentials to take the course, just reach out to me and we can take a look at the courses you have, and I can easily interpret them. So yeah, I think that's all I have to offer. I see no questions, so I feel like we've got it all covered. Any questions out there? Okay. Are there course prereqs? Yeah, thanks, Chibi, for that question. Essentially, and I'll kind of say this quite simply, and know that, again, I'm always willing to take a look at what you have and see if there's equivalents, because we, as a teaching team, want to make sure the course is as open as possible. But essentially, we're looking for students who have 9.0 credits of courses. So you would be essentially somewhere around third year. Now, if you were taking a specialist or a double major in ACM, that would be 9.0 credits in ACM courses. But if you're taking a minor or one major, that's completely impossible. So I'd be looking to see that you've taken 9.0 credits for sure, and that you have somewhere around 2.0 credits in either ACM courses or courses that sort of match the spirit of this course. Is that clear, Chupi? Great. Sorry, I'm coughing. I will say that don't put it off. Don't put it off. As a group, we haven't talked about it, but it feels like we're in a rhythm where it might be every other year. So there's no guarantee that this will be next summer. So if you think you might qualify, you're really excited, you know, other people who are excited, really think hard about this version. Go for it.
And Marla wasn't kidding when she said you really don't have to have camping experience. You really don't. But it's a very because it's going to be a relatively small group, and it's kind of an amazing instructor. The amount of instructors compared to the number of students is kind of amazing. So there's lots of opportunity to be making it interesting no matter what level you're at in terms of your say if you've hiked or not, if you camped or not. It's really not a problem. We all kind of pitch in together, and those who have more experience help those who have never done it before. There's always people on hand to help with any of it. Through, I mean, it's, you know, Bagida-waad, but also the entire Atiwenzia family are just there and helping, as well as the youth now that we didn't have last time. So you'll really feel embraced and supported with all of us up there. So don't let that if there's any kind of hesitation because you don't have any kind of experience camping or hiking, it really doesn't matter. And that if anything, you should take the course because it's a really gentle, generous way to be introduced to an environment that maybe you haven't you've been curious about, but maybe just didn't have anyone to go with, or were hesitant or couldn't afford it. There's lots of reasons why this is a great opportunity to get out there, and then you'll get hooked because everyone does. Everyone wants to then move in with Natasha. Nobody wants to leave at the end. So
I want to move in with Natasha.
As my husband says, I'm going in the wrong direction. I have all my 3 sons living at home still. I have gained now another 2 youth living with us. So, and we're also talking about getting another bunkie to get possibly another 2 youth to come in. So my husband keeps reminding me we're totally going in the wrong direction. But again, it's because they've fallen in love with what we do and they really don't want to leave. And the biggest thing for us is to make sure you have fun. We feel like if you have fun, you will learn 100 times more than anything, and the memories will stay with you. The amount of giggling that happens on the side of a puddle of an ATV track, you would not ever think you would be giggling on the side of an ATV track, giggling and carrying on, but you will be. And all of us get in there. It's not like the adults, the older people, the ones that should be much more serious. You more or less have to fish me out of there because I'm in there most likely up to my kneecaps. And I'm most likely the one that's diving through the bush faster than most of the youth will. And a lot of the youth will tell you that, saying, you know, they had no idea somebody my age, whatever that means, can move that quickly to be able to get through the bush. So again, a lot of laughter, a lot of fun, and a lot of time just to sit and listen and to tell stories and to share and to encourage each other and to learn from each other, but also eat a lot of amazing food. I'm so looking forward to the s'mores even though I think I just sat there and ate the chocolate. But I am looking forward to those being broken out again. And the pizza. The pizza was most likely my favorite meal out of all of it.
I want to follow up on both what Gwen and Natasha were talking about in terms of not you can have experience, but you don't have to have experience. There's so many people around you who are trained, really know what they're doing, that you're always looked after. So it's if anyone has a fear around being out of the city, in the countryside, in the darkness, we have a lot of things in place to make sure that you're okay. There's always people around. You are well looked after, and you get to learn what it means to cook in a group and camp together. As Gwen put it, it's do it. It's the great opportunity to learn if you haven't done it before. My favorite dinner was the fish on the fire cooked in tinfoil with the potato, cooked straight in the embers of the fire, which is pretty classic. Yeah. We're getting close to the end of our time. We're only scheduled for an hour. Are there any other questions? Is there any way this course could count as a studio art credit? Interesting question, Heidi. I will have to get back to you. That's a Manal question. The program manager. I can check and let you know that. That's it. No more questions. All right. Well, any last thoughts from our fabulous Natasha and fabulous Gwen? No?
Just sign up. It's going to be fun. I'm getting all excited just talking about it. Can't wait.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope you guys can just join us and have a lot of fun and have memories that will last you a lifetime. And again, we're always here to support you no matter what. And looking forward to it. And I think you'll just get a kick out of the family atmosphere that we have up here. It's kind of contagious. But unfortunately, we have to give you guys all up at the end of the course. Sorry.
And you do have to leave.
My husband cannot feed anymore. He tells me.
Okay, well, thank you, everybody. And thank you so much, Natasha and Gwen, both for coming and sharing the experience from the summer and talking about where we might end up
Pleasure.
this summer. Okay, thank you, everyone. I'm always here if you have any more questions.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye, Moppy.